Hey, fellow pastors, quick question. How do you know what to cut and what to keep when you're doing your sermon prep? We have all been there. We've got so much material. And maybe our sermon manuscript or outline is just getting what feels like too much. And we know our sermon is going to be too long. How do we know what to cut? How do we know what to keep? That's a huge question. And I think that we can boil it down to something pretty simple, which is this. What's your homiletical focus? And you're saying, well, what do you mean homiletical focus? Was it going to be primarily exposition and explanation, or is it going to be leveraging your exposition for application? And the way we figure this out with regard to our homiletical focus, I want to suggest is to ask this question. What is the one thing that you want to see the Holy Spirit change in the lives of your listeners? And I know we might be thinking, wait, that sounds moralistic and behavioristic, but it is not, because the scriptures were originally written for folks in their original context who needed grace to be real and practical in their lives. It's not just information based or intellectual or here's what you should know. It's here's what you should know so that. There's always a so that. Here's what you should know so that God's grace in Jesus can rewire your heart, can influence your worldview, can transform every part of your life so that as you live in union with Jesus, you can experience the power of the Holy Spirit to produce new fruit, which is for God's glory. In the same way that your justification is 100% by grace, all for God's glory, so is sanctification, 100% by grace, all for God's glory, because our role is to simply abide in the vine. So when we focus this message on the one change that we want to see the Holy Spirit work in the lives of our listeners, and let me pause, we want to be very clear. We are not talking about moralism or behaviorism. We want to keep our theological categories distinct, justification, sanctification, but never separate them from the connection they have together. So we do not want to either separate or reverse these two fundamental theological doctrines, which help us understand how we are reconciled to God, as well as how God changes us from the inside out. Okay, enough of that. This is to say, when we are going to now cut material and keep material, regardless, it needs to be related to that one thing. The one thing. Remember, we don't want to say everything. Well, we might want to say everything that we have actually compiled for our sermon, but we know that if we try to say everything, it will dilute the message. So we want to say one thing. If we can laser it in on that change, then we have a message that really is going to be deeply impactful in people's lives. Okay, so here's the deal. We call this in Preach 360 the opportunity for change. It's an opportunity that we lay out at the very beginning of the message. And it's an opportunity that we bring up and show how in the flesh it is impossible. But as we go through the gospel and find our lives in union with Jesus, now that change is possible, but it's grace-driven motivation for change, and it is fully Spirit-empowered. Holy Spirit-empowered change. And it's never changed as an obligation or a duty. It's change that is an opportunity and a gift. Now, all this is built into Preach 360. Part of this opportunity for change, you'll just be walked through the process of how to identify it and how to develop it, and then how to reveal it in practical ways in the sermon. So if all this sounds confusing, if it's like, I've never thought of it this way before, then let me just suggest that you try out Preach 360. Go into the web app and just let it walk you through the whole process. And there are plenty of training videos and things like that, but just get into the ecosystem and have your eye on this opportunity for change. and it will absolutely transform the focus of your preaching. You can totally try it for free at preach360.com. And by the way, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. So if you are a pastor in an under-resourced area, there's a way where you can apply for financial aid, scholarships, and we will do everything we can to make this resource available for you. Again, my name is McKay. I hope this helps. Let's don't say everything. Let's try to say one thing and make that count and leverage the gospel into the real lives of real people this Sunday.